Hi everybody. So today we will be covering our next topic, which is order of operations. So for this lesson, our goal is to simplify expressions involving exponents. So we always start with some important terms to remember. So we have what we call as the power. So a power is an expression that has two parts, a base and an exponent. So what's the difference between the two? The exponent is a number that tells you how many times to use the base as a factor. And the base is the number being multiplied to itself according to the exponent. So to give you an example to this, we have, let's say, 2 to the third power. So 2 is the base, and 3 here is your exponent. All right, and so what does the exponent do? It will tell you how many times you're going to multiply the base to itself. So here, if we write 2 to the third power, it will be 2 times 2 times 2. So the base got multiplied to itself by the number of exponent here 3 times. All right. So why are we talking about exponents and bases? Simplifying a numerical expression is when we replace it with just a single numerical value. So let's have some examples to clarify this. So let's say we have 10 raised to the 7th power. So we already know that our base is 10 and our exponent is 7. So this could be written as 10 times 10 times 10, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is simply multiplying 10 7 times to itself. And what will be a single value for this expression? So that will be, well, it's multiplying by 10. So all we need to do is just add all the zeros, put all the zeros after the number 1. So there are 7 zeros in here. So that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's place our commas. So this is going to be 10 million. Okay, so instead of us having 10 raised to 7, we can write it with just a single value, which is 10 million. All right, next example, we have 0.2 raised to the 5th power. So if we're going to follow our example previously, so this will be this is going to be 0.2 times 0.2 5 times. All right, so 0.2, another one, and one more. Okay, so if you would like to use the calculator, that's totally fine. But if you multiply 0.2 5 times to itself, you will end up with 0.0032. Okay, now I would just like to address one of the most common mistakes. All right, the exponent is the number that tells you how many times you multiply the base to itself. So if you have, okay, I want to highlight this, and let me use a different ink for that. Okay, so when you have 2 raised to the 3rd power, that is 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, 2 to the 3rd power is never equal to 6. Okay, 6 is actually 2 plus 2 plus 2, and that is 2 times 3. Okay, so again, you do not multiply the base and the exponent. All right, so hopefully you don't commit that frequent error by students. All right, so let's have these next examples. We have 1 over 2 raised to the 7th power, and also 2 raised to the 3rd power. So you can try it out and go ahead. Give me your answer. All right, so to check your answers, you should be getting 1 over 28, and 2 to the 3rd is going to be 8. All right, now, aside from so when we are talking about simplifying expressions, again, we just have to have one specific value. And so there is also what we call as the order of operations. So how does that work? So with order of operation, we start with doing what is inside the grouping symbols, and they are the parentheses and the brackets. Okay, a fraction bar can also act as a grouping symbol. Okay, so you start with the parentheses. After your grouping symbols, you have to simplify your power. So that is why you have exponents as the second priority. Third slot would be multiplication or division, and you have to do it from left to right. Now, to easily remember that, you have the M and D, and again, it is an or, so whichever you see first from the left. All right, it's not always multiplication and then division. It is what you see on the left first. And then the last priority operations will be addition and subtraction. Just like with the previous one, it is going to be from left to right. And so when you have multiple operations involved in your expression, you have to follow what we call as the PEMDAS rule. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, whichever comes first from the left. Lastly would be addition, subtraction, whichever comes first from the left. So let's have some examples. Let us simplify the following expressions. So we have the quantity 6 minus 2, close parenthesis, to the third power, and we need to divide it by 2. So checking with PEMDAS, do we have a parenthesis? Yes, there is. So we have 6 minus 2. So what you can do so that you don't get lost with simplifying, you can rewrite the part that you already did. So you start with 6 minus 2. So that would be a 4 raised to the third power divided by 2. So now that the parenthesis is gone, what do you do next? Check if there are exponents. And yes, we do have exponents here. So we evaluate 4 raised to the third power. So 4 times 4 times 4. That will be 64 divided by 2. And so that's the last operation that we have. And 64 divided by 2 is going to be 32. All right. Next example. So we have 2 to the fourth minus 1. This whole expression divided by 5. So we start with P, our PEMDAS, for PEMDAS. So we start with the parenthesis. Do we see any parenthesis here? There's none. We do have a fraction bar, but we can only do the division once we have a value for our dividend here. So it means that we have to find what the single value up here. So we start with exponent or subtraction. Which goes first? It's going to be your exponent. So 2 to the fourth. 2 to the fourth is going to be 16 minus 1 divided by 5. And then you work with 16 minus 1. That is going to be 15 divided by 5. And simplifying this, you will end up with a 3. All right. So you can try the next couple of examples here. These are multiple expressions that, as you can see here, and so you can pause, we can pause here, and you can try simplify these expressions. All right, to check if you got the right answers, you should be getting 5 for the first example and 70/9 for the second example.